Demetria Hester is a Black activist and organizer in Portland, Oregon. On the night of May 25th, 2017, Jeremy Joseph Christian, a self-proclaimed Nazi, attacked Demetria at the Trimet Rose Quarter Transit Center after verbally threatening her life for 3 stops prior, while both were riding the Max Light Rail train. Demetria fought back and maced Christian, leaving him incapacitated, washing out his eyes in a water fountain for 15 minutes. However, when Officer Nelson Glaske arrived on the scene, he failed to apprehend Christian while treating Demetria as the perpetrator. Christian was then allowed to wander away into the night without ever being questioned. Less than 24 hours later, he would brutally murder 2 men with a knife and critically wound a third when they defended 2 Black teenage girls that Christian was verbally assaulting on the same Max train. 3 years to the day, on May 25th, 2020, George Floyd was murdered by police in Minneapolis. Thank you, Demetria, for joining us tonight.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Thank you.
I mean, I could go on and on about how you had to battle to get that guilty verdict against Jeremy Joseph Christian, from the delays and being treated as the perpetrator at the trial itself. But I want people to understand more about your activism, and specifically how you got into the movement after George Floyd's murder in Portland, how you define the movement and what you're fighting for.
To me, everything is always connected when it deals with police and Black people and our deaths. He was my age. He didn't get to live to see his 47th birthday. I mean, I'm tired. We must fight in the streets because nothing has changed. It's just being videotaped. If people didn't wake up by seeing that, it's a problem. And that's all I saw, was that it was a problem, because you still had people saying, but, and, then, or giving an answer or a justification why this man was murdered. It was horrid, horrible, and it hurt me to my soul. Well, I cried hard. I have a son. I have a grandson. I have a daughter. I have family. Everyone who saw that was thinking like me, like, how could this possibly still be happening? We are still fighting after all this time.
What kind of mystifies people is how one of the least Black cities in the country became the vanguard for the Black Lives Matter protests post George Floyd. And from what you just expressed, it couldn't be more genuine. But outside of yourself, Portland is seen as a completely white city, going so hard for Black Lives Matter after George Floyd's murder. To you, was that genuine? And what did that moment feel like when so many people were coming to the nightly protests and getting gassed by local police even before the federal police got there?
It meant it was genuine. It meant that people were willing to put their lives on the line for Black lives. It was so united. People knew night after night what they were going to endure and still came, like Black people do. We know what we're going to endure. We get up every day and still keep going with no kind of I'm going to give up attitude. And that's the way Portland white people became. They became resilient, something they've never been before. They've become, hard, where yes, I know what I'm going to endure, but I'm okay with that. I know that it's for the right thing. People got motivated. They got empowered to keep coming because they wasn't shown that before.
No, it
that
became
you can
okay,
keep
huh?
go. Yes, they want to sit and be complacent. And when you see people on TV and when people were seeing everybody still coming out, they're like, I gotta go. I got to go because this is important. This is right. You see, these people were standing in solidarity. We want to see everybody come together and stand in unity, and everybody did it. Everybody kept coming night after night, even after the feds, they kept coming with more, came out with more mutual aid, more gear. More people came out with leaf blowers, with umbrellas, anything to shield us, to protect us, so that we would not have to endure that. It was unified and it was genuine. And it was some infiltrators that we discovered as the protest was going on, because it was specific things you didn't do as a protester, and run was one of them, agitate was another. We knew what they were going to do, period. So we kind of knew and suspected off the top, because that's how a revolution is, that they have infiltrators and people who are put there so that, you know, they can divert, they can distract, they can give information. So those are the things that we saw all through the movement, all summer long.
Yeah, because I think that some people from the outside and the inside, Black people inside Portland who weren't as active in the protests as you, felt like the overwhelmingly white crowds of protesters, particularly those committing vandalism, were co-opting the Black Lives Matter movement.
They want to see who they can lead and who's going to follow the Black people, who's going to follow the white people, who's just down there to be agitating, who's down there to be distractions. And they all got their own little groups.
So tell me about that. What are the different political factions? Black, white, POCs, Antifa, Black Lives Matter.
It's all of those. But it's, at the end of the day, stop putting labels. At the end of the day, we're united. At the end of the day, they're using those labels to turn us against each other. We're all united for the same thing, with unity and helping each other. We want laws that work for the people, not the government. And they put those stigmas on everybody and say, well, look at Antifa. Everybody who got arrested this summer is on the Antifa watch list. And it's just like, what the fuck? I mean, right, me too. Everybody. They got arrested, and it's just like, who does this? I mean, just to put out that narrative, you know, white people's media is because they want to put out this narrative that we're always bad. Look at when we first started protesting, when they were saying we were vandalizing everything, and it was the police that was vandalizing everything, and it was these same co-op people in the movement that came down to protest in Black TV. Look at the property that's been damaged. Look at them setting things on fire. And it wasn't even us. And it wasn't even us. I mean, it's, oh my God, look at what's happening. And we was closed for COVID. So come on. I mean, really, we're destroying something and we're closed for COVID, and it wasn't us.
Do you have anything to add to that, Aubrey? I see you snapping. So, you know, I think that's something that people, you know, that isn't an idea that's out there, that, you know, it's not Antifa that's setting the fires.
Right. No, I think what you said, there was a couple of things that really stood out when you said, you know, before this summer, it was really polarized. Like, people that came out and protested, you were either Antifa or you were radical, right? Like, and I think after George Floyd died, the idea of, even with the wall of moms and all the moms were summoned when George Floyd was murdered, it made it okay to be a protester. It made it okay to come out and take the streets and practice your First Amendment right. And it went from, you know, crowds of every once in a while us having 1,000 people to every night we had thousands of people, and we filled the Hawthorne Bridge, and Damian Lillard came out. I mean, just the fact that he came out that one time, how normalizing was that Damian Lillard came out? I mean, that was so badass to me. And I don't care how like performative it looks for maybe some of the other groups, or if, you know, it was the wrong leaders that were lined up. Who gives a shit? None of those people would have come out if what was happening hadn't happened, right? Like, you can't just, like Demetria was saying, stop labeling, stop saying, oh, whoever went to Rev Hall is this, or whoever did this is that. Who gives a shit? If those Rev Hall events weren't happening, we wouldn't have had thousands of people. So however that happened, great. If those people work with cops, fuck them, but I'm glad we had numbers, right? Because here's the thing. Whoever wants to smash windows can go smash windows, but everything else, if I agree with them on, we're going to fight together on. And if they want to go do stuff that I don't agree with, I'm not going to go do it with them. I didn't see shit, right? But that doesn't mean that we have to either be on the same team or in the same group or have the same label. It just means we're all here as a united front for the same fucking cause.
Yeah, it's like these movements. George Floyd was an interesting kind of messiah moment where everything stops, everything changes. People from different backgrounds on the same left side are able to jump on the same page and for a moment work together for a common goal. And of course, we know this happened with Mike Brown. I mean, that's what truly activated Teresa to exalt her to the level that she's at now as like a true Black leader in Portland. But things come to an end and things start to come apart. And I'm kind of wondering when that happened. Also, you know, do you think that like if the white demonstrators, moms getting tear gas and shot by police would have gone viral the way that they did if they were Black? And did that have anything to do with it? When did you feel this kind of shift that not everybody is on the same page for Black Lives Matter, but things are starting to change?
I think the surreal shift, because there's always been a shift, because it's a gradual shift, because white people tend to take over anything they participate in. So the shift became with the wall of moms, how they came and she didn't, or
Who's she?
Bev Barden did not want to take any instructions, advice from Black leaders, Black female leaders at that. And she came to us wanting us to help her because all the moms wanted to participate in the protest and come down and show that they wanted to participate, but they didn't know how to protest. They didn't know how to participate. They were just a lot of moms that wanted to come together to participate. So they needed guidance. But Bev Barnum didn't want any guidance. She wanted to take the moms and use it for political gain, for I'm on the internet, look at me, to sell our lives again. That's something we're fighting against, and this is what she wanted to do. So that surreal moment came a couple of days after she was down there wanting us to help her protest. She was putting the moms in danger and not wanting to protect the moms, but wanting to put them in more danger with the tear gas and how we moved. She didn't have any plans involved. And then she was constantly downplaying the moms. And it was just like, this is not what we're here for. So that was the surreal moment. And from that moment, as Black women, we had to take over and create the Moms United for Black Lives, because the moms that came for Black lives couldn't be effective because she was not allowing them to. She was telling them what to do and putting them in danger, and was not taking any advice from anyone because she felt like it was her group. And it's not about her, it was about Black lives.
You know, it's interesting what you say, that when white people become involved in the movement, they always try to take it over.
That's white supremacy right there. You want to take over. You want to reinvent the wheel and take credit for something that you didn't do. I mean, we've seen it over history. So this is nothing new. So that's why we set our boundaries. And if we find people, white, green, yellow, black, if we find you overstepping those boundaries and not doing what you're supposed to do for the movement, Black Lives, you can go ahead because we know you're not for the movement. We know that you're not for the movement. We know that you're for your purpose and your purpose only. And we don't have time for that. That's what has the downfall been going on, period. Is people have been co-opting the movement. And now it's just not white people, it's black people too. They see that they got the platform, people listening to me, so they trying to co-opt the white people to follow them. So then when it's time for them to get what they want, they can go to these colonized white people that's following them and ask them. But they are not for the movement because they're for themselves.
Can the movement ever succeed in a place like Portland then that is overwhelmingly white? I mean, black people are only 6% of the population there, and you're talking about black people who at a certain point in time also marginalized black women in the movement.
I'm not going to let them fall asleep. And it's a lot of black women that are here that are still fighting with mutual aid, was still protesting, that we're out here. We're not stopping just because we're not on Instagram or we're not live and we're not posting everything. We're always on the front line in everything we do. There's a mutual aid app that's out right now that 3 young men in Chicago made happen, and they asked us to try it out, and the app is wonderful. You can post what you need, the mutual aid things you need, and someone will help you. It's women, black women and indigenous women that's been getting things done, period, point blank. We've been strong and resilient, and we're not going to stop just because we know that white people, black men, police, authorities, the government try to co-opt the movement. We're smarter than that. We know there's infiltrators. They're dumb. They do the same things all the time. We know how they work. So we're proactive. If you are a black woman, you have an answer to every question. You have a backup answer. You have an answer for that answer. You have a plan for that plan. I mean, we just know how things are done because we've been doing it so long and the world has been on our back for so long.
That's really interesting. It's like you're saying that black women, just by living and loving and supporting their families, have already been participating in this heavy activism, but there is some kind of awakening that happened in the George Floyd moment. Well, now you're activated to the point of organizing and showing up in the streets.
Yes,
together.
And the moms, because any mom in that instant, he called out to his mom, and every mom was listening. Because every mom could relate and say, that could have been my child. And that hit so much home for so many people, not just white women, but white men. That could have been my son. And they're realizing that when you have an interracial relationship, a white man and a black woman, your son, that could be your son. And we have a lot of mixed race relationships where people are really feeling it to heart that could be their child, that could be their husband, that could be them. So they're more perceptive to open their heart and respond because that could be them. And that was made public and that was made known because the COVID came, so everybody was looking at TV and was paying attention to each other because they had nowhere to go and nothing to do.
That's another interesting point that I hadn't even thought to ask. I mean, another reason that the George Floyd moment was as galvanizing as it was is we were sitting around not doing shit, just watching TV and trying to make sure we're not going to die.
Right. And we watching someone actually die. We're watching someone die real time, real life. And just think about in an average white household, the man saw it, the wife saw it, the kids saw it. So the man is having to explain to the wife why that's happening. He don't understand. And the wife don't understand, and she's feeling some kind of way because it could have been someone in her family. So there was a whole conversation to the kids. So these are uncomfortable things that white people had to address. So that's what made it eye-opening, awakening, was white people had to address these things to their family, to themselves, and they had to really come to a conclusion in their mind why this happened. And when most of them couldn't, that's when they woke up. I can't imagine what he did or what could have happened to make that happen. And they woke up and said nothing he did. It was nothing that man could have done to get what he got.
Who are the allies and groups that you aligned with along the way?
It's hard to say, but Don't Shoot Portland is definitely one of them because Teresa stands for the community. But it's so hard to say organizations. It's so hard to say groups. It's so hard to say anyone in particular because everybody's a suspect. Until I see some action done and I personally see what people do, that's what I draw my conclusion from, is their character. Because people, as I've known over the movement and over life, being a mother, a grandmother, having 2 kids and a grandkids, is that people lie. People are very manipulative. They're out for themselves. So it doesn't exclude this movement. And when people see that they can capitalize on this and they can colonize people on this, they jump on it. This is what they've been waiting for, is acceptance from white people, acceptance to belong, to do whatever needs to be done so that they can get the okay and the thumbs up and the promotion. I don't need white people. I don't need white people's promotion. I don't need your so-called fame. I am worthy, period. I am my worth. I don't need nobody to tell me my worth. I don't need nobody to tell me that they believe me, that they stand behind me, they trust me. I don't need any of that because I know who I am, a trustworthy, dependable Black queen who know how to act, who know what to do, know her life. That's why we stand while we stand. Is because I know me and I don't need no justification from anybody else to tell me who I am. And that's the problem with the movement. People come in the movement and want acceptance from the white people in the movement. No, them who you have to worry about. You don't need acceptance from anybody. They should shut up, sit down, and listen. Because once again, when they get involved, they want to take over. No, shut up, listen. You've never been Black before. You don't know. That's it.
Well, let's get to the question we've been waiting for. Who do you mistrust in the movement and why?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. The governor, the mayor, Joanne Hardesty, NAACP, the Urban League, Al Sharpton, Reverend Hennessy, Rose City Justice, Dre Miller, Black Resilience Fund, all the Judases They're in the movement. They know who they are. And the white people trying to co-opt the movement. Black men trying to co-opt the movement from Black women. People trying to silence Black women voices. So it's a lot. And their track records, speak for themselves. We can start with the governor. What did she do? Let everything happen. What did the mayor do? Let everything happen. Ask for more money to get it happen. Make it happen. Let the Proud Boys do whatever they want to. I mean, what he haven't did? Then he done hired a pedophile in again. Then let's go to Joanne Hardesty, who is a Black female who has not done nothing for our community, but uses her Blackness to get white people to do what she wanted, colonize the white people. Let's talk about the Urban League, who gets money for Black lives and have not did a thing for Black lives. Let's talk about Al Sharpton. You've been in the movement for how long? And we're still in the same situation. When I went to the 57th anniversary MLK March, we were giving warm water and warm Powerade after being in the hot sun, 100 plus degrees for 5 hours.
Well, you're lucky you got water. I didn't see a single bottle of water the whole time I was there. I didn't even see the Powerade.
Did I say I got it? I said that it was there.
Are you sure it was there? I'm not sure it was there.
Right. I didn't see anything.
All I saw was old people and children passing out.
Passing out. That's all I saw. And then none of the people that spoke marched. And I had to start the march because we would have still been out there at 2:45. The march was supposed to start at 11 o'clock.
And that was a kind of amazing moment, though, that you set it off in Portland, you set it off in Washington on the anniversary of MLK's I Have a Dream speech. So, I mean, this moment has really awakened something within you. Mm-hmm. And that's not going back in the box.
It's not. I'm not. It's just something. I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about our revolution and how this is going to play out and how our revolution needs to be done, fighting and keep fighting and never give up. It's that same power that's in me is in everybody that woke up in Portland. That fire was like, oh my God, I have to do something. It's so many people that came to me saying that, oh my God, you're right. Once you come out, you can't go back. Once you've been awakened, you can't go back to sleep because it's going to keep you up. Your mind's going to keep going until you're able to do it. It's not going to let you rest because our ancestors are horning into all of us to make this revolution happen because we don't have tomorrow. And we don't want our next generation to be going through what we're going through, even worse.
So how do you keep motivated when you got the Judases on the left on one side, and then literally the white supremacists, the white nationalists, the Proud Boys, the Patriot Prayers people trying to kill you? And you have an anecdotal story about white supremacists threatening your life.
Yeah, I keep on going because our future depends on it. I can't give up. Our future depends on it. Our lives depend on it. I can't give up because I know that if I give up, we're going to be going through way much worse than what we're going through now. And that's horrible to even think of, because it's horrid to think of what we're going through and how white people are covering everything up and want people to go back to sleep, to the point where they're, like I said, infiltrators, Judases, they're paying people, they're doing everything, pulling out every stop they can, just like with the Black Panthers. Every stop. They're pulling out everything they can because they know it's a revolution happening right now and they want to stop it, and they can't, because we know too much. We know how they work. We learn from the past. We learn from mistakes. We know what to do, and we're doing it. And these little laws that's getting changed, the little things that are getting changed, the system that's breaking down, that's what keep me going. And the community and the people that are still here fighting, that's what keep me going on.
Since George Floyd, what are gains that have been made, and are they symbolic or are they systemic?
The gains that I feel like have been made are Black women have become stronger and more resilient, even if you can say that, but we've become united more. And then the white women are actually sitting down, shutting the fuck up and listening, because they understand that they've been suppressed too. They understand that white men are evil. They understand the torture they've been going through. And white men understand the system and how they're using them to put a wedge between them and their family. They're waking up to all of this. Because if you love your family, that means you're going to want better for your family and you're going to want change. And these white families are wanting change. They don't want to have to pay and get in debt to put their kids in school, when there could be a system that we don't have to be in debt. None of us. None of us. If they leveled the playing ground, none of us have to be in debt. None of us have to worry about our credit, if we can live, if we can eat, if we can feed each other. None of us have to worry about that if we put our system in play for us, and white people are realizing that.
So you're saying that the Black Lives Movement and the anti-capitalist class struggle are inextricably connected.
Yes. They put a barrier between us, and that's how they do it. Money. Here's the middle class. We're all in the same class. We're not making what the rich make. That's just point blank. We're working too hard, for the rich to be, rich. And all of us feel like that. And that's what they're pissed off at, is we're all realizing that. We're all realizing that we're all in debt for nothing. Look at what COVID showed us. We all do not have to work 80 hours a week to live. We all don't have to leave our homes to have a job. We all can make it if we work together.
What is your vision going? What is your vision?
My vision looks like we're getting reparations and we're tearing down this systematic system to make laws for the community and make laws to be able to succeed and not tear the Black women down, but lift them up, free our Black and brown sisters and brothers that are in jail, and give them what they need, which is reparations, healing, land, a job, their own business. I mean, just reparations. And that taking our school system and tearing down the curriculum, which is systematic, and make it so we teach our children to survive and teach them skills so that they won't have to depend on anybody but themselves. Teach them gardening, teach them how to unify with each other, to have things and love one another. I mean, all of that, from our laws to our education, that part. So yes, we've shown the world that it can happen, because again, we both know this is the whitest state. So if white people can be woke and they are going.
Okay, you're kind of breaking up, so I think we're just going to end it here.
Okay.
But that was an amazing conversation. No, I just wish I could be with you in person, you know, all mic'd up with the camera. But hopefully I can. What?
I say, you know it, because it'd be like, you know where to put it. Tell me, you a pro at this by now.
Exactly. No, I'll be there. I mean, I don't know exactly when I'm coming, but you know, like I said, there's just a really interesting thing going on between you and Teresa. And like when I first met Teresa in 2017 and what was going on, I was
a lot.
It was a lot. Quantas had just been murdered. So the very first time I met her was the Not My President's Day protest. And I'm just, you know, I'm here because of what happened to Larnell Bruce Jr. And then, wow, this is this other Black teenager that was just executed
with his hands up
by police.
Yeah.
You know, so I know that there's something here that needs to, the lid needs to be blown off of it. And then Teresa's up there saying it in front of the federal building, the federal courthouse. And then, you know, she's so powerful. You know, I had been, you know, when these movements fizzle out and die, it kind of kills me. And I had been I got real caught up in the Occupy Wall Street movement, you know, and I really thought shit was going to change. You know, we're down here in New York's Wall Street and everybody's understanding that we are not part of the 1%. And there is just something that is fucking wrong at every single level. And literally everything needs to be changed. But then I watched that all just crumble. I saw the from the inside too, the power plays that were happening when something gets so big, you know, like the Black Lives Matter movement after George Floyd was another.
It's just an explosion of just that. People try to capitalize on it. Then you see that even with the Black Lives Matter, I know Teresa told you, but with the Black Lives Matter, she even asked them, when she asked them where the money go, they stopped fucking with her. I was like, oh my God.
Everybody stops fucking with you when you ask where the money goes.
That's right. When you say, where did this money go? And they like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to fuck with you. What? So you mean to tell me I'm selling these signs, making booloos of money for you because I promote Black Lives Matter? And I ask you what you doing with the money and you tell me you don't know.
Nobody knows.
So nobody know. And see, that's what I mean about the movement. People say Black Lives Matter, but it's about Black lives. Y'all are taking that and saying, okay, since I got this sign, since I'm doing this, since I'm doing that, then let me check this off my list. I did this. You know what I'm saying? So that means that Black Lives Matter. No, do the fucking work. I'm sick of y'all white people sitting up here saying I put a sign up or I did this and that's okay. Okay, it was good talking to you, girl. All right, I'm gonna go and eat something to eat.
Okay,
and do something. All right, love you. I'll talk to you soon. Okay,
yeah,
you take care.
To you about the future.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Good night.